Hi everyone, welcome back to the second semester of 5710 podcast. We've got a great first guest for you with Paul Stallan from Stallan Brand. The Glasgow-based practice was established in 2012 by a team which evolved over the last 25 years and includes architects, master planners, graphic designers and model makers. Through their understanding of place, research-based design and deep-rooted appreciation of their role as architect, Stallan Brand strive to develop simple, resilient designs which support social progression. Hi, Paul.
Hi there, hi.
I usually start by asking how people's journey up was, but I don't think yours was a very enjoyable journey.
Yes, the train broke, at Dundee, but no, it's fine, No, I got here.
Well, that's all that matters. So you seem to have a keen interest both in Stallan Brand and yourself in urban regeneration and design. What can we do to improve our cities as architects, but also as students moving into the future?
Yeah, it's very, very simple. I think the one ingredient that would really help regeneration is the whole idea of generation, and that what I mean by that is school. And schools, I think, are so under sort of emphasised, if you like, within as a civic building. Yeah. The potential for schools to rebuild and reconnect communities and rebuild parts of the city is just extraordinary. I really think that to encourage families and communities to come together, the school building is such an important component. I mean, we'd love to do more urban schools and urban contexts to help these places and kind of. I think there's some really interesting schools in London and kind of dense communities, and I think there's bits of Dundee and Aberdeen and Glasgow and that I think that you could do with some fantastic new urban schools. I think that's a key.
You're also a prominent Scottish architect. And how do you see the state of contemporary Scottish architecture? What can it offer the rest of the UK, maybe the rest of the world, which you kind of touched on a little bit? So how do you see it kind of currently at the moment? Because there's been a lot said fairly recently to do with like procurement and things like that. Can it work within that framework?
I think there's a massive opportunity for Scottish architects to externalise. Huge opportunity internationally. I think I really, from experience, understand that we can, as a small country, do so much more. Mm-hmm. There is fantastic spaces and places to do business and to do incredible things. I think the Danes and others seem to have a platform internationally that Scotland doesn't. I think we, I think that is where the headroom is. I think as a small, well educated country, I think the potential to partner, to collaborate, and to get out beyond Scotland is significant.
Mm-hmm. As I knew it before, but seeing some of your work on the presentation, you're a passionate artist. How do you balance this with your day job as an architect? And do they ever kind of cross over in any way?
Yeah, there's no crossover. It's all one and the same. It's all a complete shambles. I mean, I can't separate that. I just get up in the morning and fall forward, and I really can't. I enjoy drawing, I enjoy collage, I enjoy making things. I just feel that without doing any of that, I would somehow run dry as an architect. I have to sort of, it's like being a gymnastic and doing warm-up exercises, or, if you're not keeping yourself fit, I just, in terms of, visually, in terms of your visual intelligence, I think, and it's fun. Yeah,
it kind of keeps it like a visual workout almost. Yeah.
Visual workout. Yeah, I'm going to use that again. That's a great, yeah.
You've also got I was going through your Instagram page as well, and not only is it very popular, but it's very engaging for followers, and you share some Stallan Brand work, but a lot of things that you find interesting as well, it seems. Yeah. Is that quite important for you to like show your personality through the Instagram kind of?
Yeah, well, I'm just an image junkie. I don't know. I'm not really that conscious of it, other than the fact that, God, I really like that. I'm going to stick that out. And it's like a filing system in a way, that you can go back and refer to it and share it with friends. I don't understand why it's popular. I just put all sorts of random things on. But yeah, no, I really, all the way through school, I mean, I really hated exams. I was much more visual as an individual in terms of visual learning, and I do think it's underrated or not appreciated in schools as a way of encouraging learning. But no, I mean, I apologise for the randomness of it.
No, it's great. It's almost like a collage in itself of all the different things that you find interesting.
Yeah, anarchy. Yeah.
So when you're maybe looking for students to hire out of uni, especially maybe Scottish students, that's where we are, whether part 1 or part 2, what are you kind of looking for with them, both personality-wise but work-wise as well?
Troublemakers, non-conformists. It's so difficult. It's so difficult. I mean, it's just I want to employ everybody. That's my problem. Not my problem. And not employ everybody because as I'm really, I just want to be everybody's friend. Being employed is difficult. It's so much, so much raw talent out there. It's extraordinary. I really try to. I mean, we've got so many work experience students and kids from school and. I mean, our studio is a bit of a kindergarten, and I'm constantly getting into trouble. It's full of waifs and strays, and Alistair, who's very business and I'm not, he falls out with me all the time for overcommitting, and so I just really love the studio and I love the studio kind of environment, and I like through developing people. Developing myself, sharing experiences and being around people. I'm not looking for anything specific. We're not. I don't think we're that kind of studio. I think we're all misfits.
Yeah, developing a little team of misfits that kind of manage to fit together. What's your kind of favourite memory from your architectural career, whether from university itself or in the workplace, that kind of maybe keeps you going a little bit, or just a nice story to tell?
Too many stories. I mean, kind of ridiculous. I've kind of been so lucky to work with some really some interesting, kind of architects. I remember when I worked with Will Alsop, Will came into the studio one day and, Will smoked, so many cigarettes and he drank a lot. And at the weekend he has a wee studio out in his garden, and anyway, he fell asleep and burnt it down, but he managed to escape with his laptop. But his brand new Apple laptop was black, and he came in that morning and he handed it over to the IT guy and said, "Oh, Dan, can you hoover my laptop?" Because it was black and it covered in soot, and amazingly it worked. And but that was Will. He was a complete car crash. Amazingly, fantastically wonderful, crazy man. Sadly gone. But there's other Will stories that I can't even repeat. So.
Okay. Final question, and it's something we're gonna bring it all together at the end of the semester, and do a little map of all the places. If you could recommend a city or a building or both that a student of architecture should visit on a grand tour, where would it be, or what would it be?
I'd certainly avoid Glasgow. That's definitely, Glasgow's not a place. No, let me start again. I would recommend Glasgow to a student for all the reasons that you wouldn't expect. Yeah. Because it's broken, it's interesting, it's got so many challenges. You don't want to go to a complete place like Florence because it's dead. Yeah. Essentially, Glasgow is a complete work in progress and continues to be work in progress, and it's been bypassed in so many ways there's bad politics, and you know, I think the only other city that compares to is Belfast. Slowly but surely, it's got this incredible infrastructure, and I think there's so much opportunity for architects and communities to kind of reimagine it. And so I think in terms of opportunity, in terms of history, in terms of stories, in terms of I think, I mean, I'm being, because it's my city, but there's other cities I love, like New York and you know, Hong Kong and whatever, but they're not real places for me. So yeah, Glasgow's unexpected.
I like that. It's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a bit out of left field, but it's good.
Yep. Nobody else will recommend that. So that's a fact.
And next week we'll have someone saying Glasgow.
What? Exactly. Yep.
Well, thank you very much for joining us. Both your talk and the podcast were great. I hope your trip back is better than your trip down. But
thank you.
Anyway, thank you for listening, everyone. We won't have anything next week because it's Valentine's Day. But we'll be back in 2 weeks with David Henderson from Glenn Howells Architects in Birmingham and London. Thank you.